Welcome back to more of Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle 4, and here we're gonna finish World 5. Now, stage 4 starts off pretty simple. I mean, you have lots of ladders to climb up of, and you have a lot of 10-ton weights to work with. Well, not 10-ton, 100-ton, but you also have plenty of weapons to work with here. The water is actually not going to be as big a problem in this one as it is in the other stages. And, let's see, this is where they start turning up a lot more enemies, because later in this world they do a very good job of, or the designers do a very good job of blocking off whatever paths you need to go through, either with water or through certain enemies that are really a pain to get by, such as this buzzard. And here I just get ambushed by a fox, which is really nothing new if you've been following this series. That's been happening to me quite a bit. And that's one thing I really don't like about climbing the ladders, is that they take a pretty long time, and also pretty easy to get caught off guard by stuff. I guess they expected you to get hit early, so guess that's what that health power-up is for. And right here is where I'm probably gonna have some trouble, or I'm gonna need to use some actual skill to get out of the way of this gorilla as well as these two foxes chasing me. And also in this world is where they really start turning up the number of fake treasure chests. I think just about everywhere I've been, wherever there's two of them, almost every time there's always a fake one in there. And right when I say that, I'm proven wrong. But instead I did get an extra life, so at least that's good for me. And what I'm trying to do here is just wait for the foxes to come down after me, or just so I can give them the slip. I was kind of worried about them turning around and following me down the ladder and basically surrounding me. So yeah, that's what I was worried about. Here, I'm just gonna take out one of them. That is really the easy way to do it, just to give them the slip that way. I really should have watched where I was going here, because there might have been a gorilla in the way. But fortunately, there was not. And, one thing I probably did mention in World 4 that I probably should mention again is that the game does a pretty good job of building up difficulty. And what I do like is that it introduces you to a certain gimmick and then keeps building and building upon it and expects you to have it down pat by the time you get to the end of the world. Which is always a good thing. I mean, I like games that expect you to build your skill and challenge you by, I guess, introducing you to tougher stuff. I mean, based on all the games I have played for this channel, that's actually been the case for most of them. And right here, let's see, what I need to do is just keep taking the doors that go down, or keep taking the paths that go down, even though some of them actually lead you straight to water. And here I'm kind of worried about what that fox is going to do. So I'm just going to let him drop into the pit. Well, not really. I guess he decided to go take the door or something, because I don't really know what he just did. Either way, what I had to do is just give one of them the slip here. I might as well just take out the gorilla before he causes me any trouble. Even though in hindsight I probably should have taken out the fox, but then again, not really sure if I wanted the gorilla blocking my escape route. Which is one thing that's actually pretty tough about this world, is that sometimes they give you either only one escape route, or it's blocked off pretty well by certain enemies. Or enemies just get in your way and just cut off your escape route wherever you need to go. And that's another example of where you had to go across the log. But I don't think I do that just yet. That I just go the easy way and just the waterproof way. And there's my inability to inflate the bomb in time, which is something that has happened to me quite a bit. But fortunately, I guess they expected me to get hit there, so might as well just leave a surprise for him while he's downstairs. One thing I do appreciate about this level layout is that they do offer you good ways to, or you just constantly have to be thinking and you constantly have to be moving, which is something that I did notice while playing this game, and it does actually go against what I said before in Crazy Castle 2, which was the whole thing from Zombieland, when in doubt, know your way out, which is something I have not been practicing in this game, because usually I end up getting trapped one way or another and just end up having to use a weapon to get myself out. But then again, since this game does require you to keep running and running, so it actually has more emphasis on as exploration and finding everything, as opposed to like actual trial and error, which can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you want to put it, because too much trial and error is definitely going to be a turn off to a lot of people, and also too much of. But then again, if you are getting everything right on your first try without I guess having to repeat the level or having to do some things differently, then that's not really much of a challenge if you're just getting it right the first try. I mean, that's something that a lot of newer games do, is that they do expect you to get everything right the first try. And even if you don't, no big deal. I mean, it's not like you get sent back to the beginning of the game or anything. There are actually some good videos about like newer games and older games that are being compared to. And see, I think my favorite one of those so far was I think that guy's name was Archimedes123 or something. I don't really remember the number. Also, if you did fall in the water, you would end up in that corner, or in that bottom right corner near the pipe. So just make sure you do be aware of that, because enemies are going to be washing up from there. So what I'm doing here is just waiting for the fox and just getting rid of him. That's because I felt like it. And I'll also shoot this gorilla too, because I felt like it. I don't know, I guess I was just feeling sadistic with this world. Anyway, to get to the exit, you have to use the logs, and to do so, you have to take the log across and go to the right. And here, I'm just waiting for it to form. Fortunately, they do give you plenty of room, so at least you got that going for you. Now for the final stage of this world. Stage 5-5 offers you some doors right away. Fortunately, you do get plenty of good weapons to work with, which is going to be pretty important because there are coyotes on your ass all the time in this stage. And the biggest thing about this stage is it's pretty easy to miss some stuff, which is something I actually did quite a few times in the third one. It's pretty easy to miss some stuff because you're constantly running from enemies. And I think that's something that does happen to me in this part, or in this stage. Right here, I'm just trying to be shifty with trying to escape the coyote by using my old tricks. I mean, all of my tricks still stand, and I actually found myself using the door trick a lot less in this game compared to the first two. I mean, it still works just as well. And also, here's what I mean by getting blocked off by enemies. Here, the buzzard is blocking my escape route. So I just had to bite the bullet and use a bomb on the coyote. But I mean, that's just things that happen while you're playing this game. And that was the first of many mistakes in this level by me. I should have gone down there and gotten some stuff in there, because I think I missed like 2 keys or something in that part. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. Either way, it was a key. So what I have to do now is just make do with what I got, and that involves going up and making sure I can use the 100-ton weight, which I cannot. Fortunately, there are plenty of bridges to cross the waterfalls. I mean, that's one thing the game does a good job of doing, is that the design is set up so that if you end up taking the wrong path, you end up going to the waterfall, which can be a turnoff to some people, but personally, I didn't really mind it that much. I mean, if you've seen other games on my channel, you know I've put up with a lot worse. So it's actually not that big a deal for me. Especially since the game still gives you a health bar, which is something that I kind of have mixed opinions about. I mean, I've talked about it earlier. I mean, especially when you're used to playing the first two, where you don't have a health bar or one hit kills you. I mean, that's just something you just tend to get used to while you're playing this game. So this is one of those other series where I would not recommend starting at the latest and going back to the earliest. I think Mega Man's also guilty of something like that too. Alright, here I'm just nervous if there are any enemies waiting for me. Alright, here I am missing a lot of opportunities for carrots, but well, that doesn't really matter. Here I'm just making sure I'm going the right places. And I think now was when I realized that I missed a bunch of those keys on the left. So I think if you do see any abrupt cuts here, then that's usually just because I'm backtracking and getting stuff that I didn't really feel like leaving in. I mean, there was just a lot of backtracking in this part, and you know, I've done this plenty of times in my other videos, so I'm sure you guys are used to it by now. And right here, I better plant a bomb while I can. Well, just because there's a coyote breathing down my neck, so I just better take care of him while I can. Which is something that's going to be a recurring theme in this stage, is that coyotes are going to end up chasing you, and it's important that you do backtrack properly. And it's also important that you know where you've been, and where you still need to go. And see, what else? Anyway, just in case you want to know where the exit is. And this is where you would end up if you end up in the water. I think I actually do end up falling in the water in this part, so I did at least end up showing that off. I think here I'm realizing that I'm still missing some keys, so what the game wanted me to do was to go down, then up, then to the other side, or then over to the left. Here I'm trying to be fancy and end up dropping myself in the water. And there's just an animation of what happens when you fall in the water. Notice that you do lose a heart though, so that's just something you have to keep in mind. Anyway, that's what I meant to do, except not get hit by the coyote. So that's like what I was saying earlier, is that the game wanted me to go down, then up, then over to the right, then down, then up, then over to the right again, and so forth. I mean, that would have been the easiest way to go through this stage, but unfortunately, because you're kind of thinking on your feet, unfortunately, that just didn't work out that way. And, if you do end up hitting the water with one heart left, then you do end up dying, so, well, just like everything else. And that's just another backtrack that you didn't need to see. Usually that was just me climbing ladders was all. And especially since there was a lot of fake treasure chests in this one, it's pretty easy to get caught off guard by those. And, let's see, what I need to do is just clean up the rest of the area. So that's really all I'm doing here. I think there's one more key down there. And see, I almost get taken out by a gorilla. Oh, that was actually pretty clever of them. They put a, just a misleading path down there. Here, I'm just gonna wait for the gorilla to go into my balloon bomb. Not really sure why this is a balloon bomb. Is there something in the balloon that, like, explodes and kills them? I don't know. Never really argued with the logic of Bugs Bunny games. Then again, let's talk about logic in a kid's cartoon. So anyway, all I have to do is just go to the exit. You've already seen this. So with that, we are done with World 5, and I will see you in World 6. And the castle is just on the horizon.